It's hard to believe that next year the PlayStation 2 will be almost a quarter of a century old. With Sony's cutting-edge technology and its sleek and modern design, it's no secret the PS2 is popular, even still holding its title of best-selling home game console of all time. So today, let's take a quick look back and explore just how and why Sony's PlayStation 2 became the most popular console of all time and still remains unsurpassed to this day. Prior to its lineup of PlayStation consoles, Sony was already a wide-reaching name in technology since the 1940s. After a failed venture in working with Nintendo to develop a CD-ROM add-on for the Super Famicom, they decided to go their own route with the company's launch of the original PlayStation in 1994, soon to be in competition with the largest console producer and their Nintendo 64 a few years later. Sony's technology and marketing tactics pushed their PlayStation to massively outsell the N64 in the end. And with the PlayStation 2, of course, Sony just knew how to market it. The global launch strategy ensured that gamers from every corner of the world got their hands on one, no matter if you were in North America, Europe, or Japan. Sony built a worldwide brand that felt inclusive. Everyone was part of the PlayStation family. Their marketing campaigns were legendary.
New for 2078. PlayStation 9's new electronic spores tap straight into your adrenal gland.
Whether it was showcasing futuristic designs or emphasizing the PS2 as not just a game console for kids, but an entire entertainment hub, making sure that everybody wanted one, even people that weren't hardcore gamers. They nailed the idea that the PS2 was more than just a console, it was a lifestyle. Sony's timing with the PS2's launch proved to be a decision that would pay off for them. First releasing in Japan in March of 2000 with other countries later that year, it was the ideal sweet spot for the release. Sega was ready to pull the plug on their Dreamcast from the year before, and with the GameCube and Xbox still being in the distance, Sony pretty much had a wide open market in the best time possible, when gaming was just starting to go even more mainstream. Naturally, of course, we can't forget about its backwards compatibility. The PS1 was huge, and you could play a majority of your original PlayStation library on the new PlayStation 2 without a hitch. No need to leave behind your old games or having to keep around two consoles. Instead, gamers had a new console that had a fresh catalog of titles at launch, with the option to still go back and enjoy our last-gen favorites from time to time. The PS2 wasn't just a game console, it was a Trojan horse for possibly the even bigger revolution at the time, DVDs. Prior to its business in the console market, Sony made all sorts of technology since the 1940s, everything from radios to televisions and, of course, well, DVD players. Now back in 2000, DVD players were the new thing, and well, the problem was they were considerably expensive for the time. But along came the PS2, which now doubled as one of the best DVD players you could get. Suddenly the new console wasn't just competing in the gaming market, but also in the home entertainment space. Why would you go out and buy just a DVD player when you could have one built into a brand new game console for nearly the same price? There were many versions of the console that even came packaged with a DVD remote. This, coupled with its affordability, led to a massive amount of consumers buying the console who didn't even play video games at all. Final Fantasy X, the Grand Theft Auto trilogy, Resident Evil 4, Burnout Takedown, the Tony Hawk games, do I really need to go on here? Even with all that I've mentioned that it has going for it already, the PS2 of course wouldn't have become what it was without the games, the library of which is still regarded by many as one of the greatest of all time. The console had over 4,000 titles. Obviously though, it's not about the quantity but rather the quality, which a majority of the games certainly weren't lacking in. Whether you were into 3D platformers, action-adventure, RPGs, racing, sports, you name it, the PS2 had something for everyone, and it brought us some truly unforgettable experiences. The sheer variety of games on the PlayStation 2 cemented it as a console that could cater to every gamer's tastes. And let's not forget that the PlayStation 2 was the birthplace of many iconic franchises that are even still going to this day. The hardware inside the PS2 was nothing short of impressive for its time. With the Emotion Engine processor, the system could handle 3D graphics that not only blew its competitors out of the water, but also were incredibly stable and performant for the time. Developers had the tools to push boundaries and create even more immersive worlds, but the PS2 also had great longevity. It wasn't just a console that you would play for a few years and toss aside. It evolved over time, with network adapters for online play, the hard drive to be used as expansion for certain titles, and the infamous multi-tap for when you had your friends over. While the hardware was regarded as confusing to develop for, there's no denying it was versatile, adaptable, and seemingly much more future-proof than other consoles before it. Let's be real here though, it wasn't just the hardware or the games or even the DVDs, it was all of it, wrapped up in one sleek black box that defined a generation. Let me know what your favorite PS2 game was and a good memory that you have with it, and I'll feature one of your answers in my next video. As for my personal favorites, it's pretty damn hard to narrow it down here,